First of all, we're going to begin with Ben Affleck on a recent interview he had with LA Times. So, of course, he talked about a lot of things, not just personal topics related to his life, but also films like The Comeback, The Last Duel, being movies and projects that he was enthusiastic about and really excited, while also, going in depth topic on the whole Batman experience since 2016. Now, he did admit that filming the Justice League was actually the lowest point of his career. And most people thought that being Daredevil was the lowest point, so that really says a lot. He admitted that he was a bit hurt by the whole casting reaction before Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. But at least he did get some support from Warner Brothers, including Christopher Nolan, who at the time was, executive of the company. And he did believe he was fit to carry the role. Now, when the movie did come out, even though it wasn't great, especially critically and commercially, his performance as Bruce Wayne Batman was still very good. It was Justice League in 2017 that was a letdown for him. He had this to say from his filming experience. It was really Justice League that was the nadir for me. That was a bad experience because of a confluence of things. My own life, my divorce, being away too much, the competing agendas, and then Zack's personal tragedy and the reshooting. It was the worst experience. It was awful. It was everything that I didn't like about this. That became the moment where I said, I'm not doing this anymore. It's not even about Justice League was so bad, because it could have been everything. I do think that his thoughts are justified, and I really do agree with him when you look at the results. It wasn't at the quality it should have been. And it showed because a lot of the vision, or what I should say properly, everything initially that was envisioned by Zack Snyder in 2017, it was all changed from reshoots. It didn't help that there was a lot of behind the scenes behavior from director Joss Whedon, who took over. And I guess he was kind of a good substitute, seeing his work from the first two Avengers films. However, a lot of his on-set behavior really irritated plenty of the cast, including Ray Fisher. Now, he did complain to Warner Brothers and asked them to investigate. However, in 5 months, there was only minimal results or minuscule consequence. I'm not sure exactly, but it didn't seem like there wasn't any sort of punishment towards Joss Whedon. Now, when it comes to the theatrical cut, which is different from the director's cut on HBO Max, there was a lot of cut content that didn't make it. And plus, the whole viewing experience to me was out of ordinary. And so when the characters interacted throughout the film, it was in some ways awkward. I don't know, I felt especially moments between The Flash and Wonder Woman, And the cinematography that should have been there was kind of out of place. It was changed. And me personally, maybe most people, I didn't like the whole orange sky in the third act when they were all about to battle Steppenwolf together. So Joss Whedon came in and he changed everything that was initially set up by Zack Snyder. Although all the memories for me that happened watching that movie completely erased. Watching the director's cut that was released on HBO Max for me was a much better movie, albeit less than perfect. And like I was saying before, I'm glad the cinematography was improved and changed. Plus, there was a whole bunch of dialogue that was cut that was brought back, I didn't think you were real. I'm real when it's useful. I thought that line was essential because of Batman and Cyborg just at least trying to understand each other initially. Now, when it came to the Batman movie that's coming in March 4, he did have this to say regarding the film. Directing Batman is a good example. I looked at it and thought, I'm not going to be happy doing this. The person who does this should love it. You're supposed to always want these things, and I probably would have loved it at 32 or something. But it was the point where I started to realize it's not worth it. It's just a wonderful benefit of reorienting and recalibrating your priorities. that once it started being more about the experience, I felt at ease. Clearly, his lack of enthusiasm for the film and the whole project, while being unhappy with the development, made him reconsider to drop out. Plus, his close friend Matt Damon convinced him to take on other projects he's more passionate about, such as other good films that he's done recently, like, The Comeback and The Last Duel. Despite commercial results from the pandemic, were still decent movies. Now, initially, he was supposed to star, produce, write, and direct opposite to Joe Manganiello, who was going to come back as Deathstroke in the Batman movie. Now, the Deathstroke character did make a cameo appearance in the mid-credit scenes of Justice League, sharing a scene with Jesse Eisenberg, who did come back and reprise his role as Lex Luthor. So that was actually pretty good. However, there's still some good news, though. I mean, the Flash movie is coming out sometime in 2022, and Ben Affleck will be the Batman, but only for the third and final time. He did clearly express his excitement for the movie, and he called his scenes his favorite as Batman alongside Ezra Miller. He did say this: "I have never said this. This is hot off the presses, but maybe my favorite scenes in terms of Batman and the interpretation of Batman that I have done were in the Flash movie. I hope they maintain the integrity of what we did, because I thought it was great and really interesting, different, but not in a way that is incongruent with the character. Who knows? Maybe they will decide that it doesn't work. But when I went and did it, it was really fun and really, really satisfying and encouraging, and I thought, wow, I think I have finally figured it out." Now, before he agreed to take part in the movie, he did give some notes on the script to Andy Muschietti, and by the way, the script was written by Christina Hodson. So after that, just conversations with the director, he agreed to be part of it, and Muschietti himself said that he's a very substantial part of the emotional impact of the movie. So, I can't wait to see how that relationship between Bruce Wayne and Barry Allen evolves. And I'm actually excited to see Michael Caine come back as Batman in the Flashpoint story, although it's likely he's going to be Thomas Wayne, Bruce Wayne's dad, because the Flashpoint storyline is basically based on Barry Allen traveling back in time, and what he does is that he decides to save his mom. But when that happens and goes back to his timeline, changes are sort of taken place. What I'm trying to say is that the results bring unintended consequences in a lot of bad ways. Now, who are the villains? It's not really clear. But what is clear is that in the Flashpoint universe, Bruce Wayne as a child was killed. And that sort of forced, or I guess inspired, Thomas Wayne to be Batman. Kind of like what the regular Bruce Wayne would do as a vigilante. So I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be the first time where two Batman actors not sharing the same frame or sharing the same scenes, but being part of the same movie. And I really can't wait to see how that goes. And I think the whole Flashpoint movie, at least I hope it's going to still be called I think it's either going to be called Flashpoint or it's still known as The Flash. But I still think it's going to be a strong movie. And hopefully for the DCEU, it continues to improve from there.